Lady in the street, diva in the seat. She's a truckin' lady, truckin' lady.
Hey everyone, A Truckin Lady here. Thank you for joining me for another episode. Last episode, I left off kind of just talking about my reasoning for getting into trucking and my fears about doing trucking. And I was getting ready to leave off for training. So I'm going to pick that back up and get into that because that is a crazy story. So once I had the official date and my recruiter sent me my bus ticket, like information, I had to go pick up my bus tickets from the actual bus stop and took my bags and got to the bus station going all the way to Springfield, Missouri from Valdosta, Georgia. So if anybody's ever taken the bus, I'm not talking about Megabus. I'm talking about the other one, the Greyhound. It's not that great sometimes. And it was a good time of the year, it was September. So it wasn't too cold, it wasn't too hot, it wasn't inclement weather. So, but I was still delayed. I was supposed to get to Springfield on Sunday evening. I didn't get to Springfield until Monday morning. So to kind of backtrack a little bit. So I was supposed to, Atlanta is about 4.5 hours from Valdosta and on a bus, it's a little longer because of all the stops. Now I left Sunday afternoon, like I want to say like on round 1 or 2, maybe, and get to Atlanta. Supposed to be like maybe 8 or 9. So I get to, and then I'm supposed to leave out like 2 hours later for my next connection, which I don't remember exactly where it was going. But I get to Atlanta at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock maybe. It was kind of late. Supposed to be there for like 2 hours, leave out around midnight. I get there waiting in this bus stop, uncomfortable, nowhere to lay down. I'm tired, I'm exhausted. Well, I didn't leave out actually until like 4 o'clock in the morning. I was dog tired, y'all, let me tell you. But just a little side note or, to that is honestly, this lifestyle traveling on a bus kind of is reminiscent of being a truck driver. I didn't know it at the time. And I'll kind of explain that once I get more into my truck driving experience. But just remember I said that. So leave out about 4 in the morning, get to another destination. Luckily, our bus is already there, so we get on that bus. I think I had one more stop in St. Louis. That was horrible. That whole experience was horrible. Long story short, a bus driver basically quit. So they were behind because they were supposed to take a load of people somewhere, and because that bus driver quit, they couldn't take them. So that put them back. So when I get there, we were delayed like 6 hours, I want to say. Long story short, we finally get on a bus. It's completely behind schedule. Completely behind schedule. Supposed to be the time that we were boarding the bus was the time I was supposed to be getting in Springfield. So get on the bus. Actually, I was boarding later than the time I was supposed to be getting in Springfield. Um, it was like I had gotten there probably the next morning in St. Louis, I'm thinking. Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, something like that. And it had to be Sunday afternoon. And about like 3 or 4. We didn't leave out of the St. Louis terminal until about 7 or 8 that night. No, we didn't leave out the St. Louis terminal until about 11 or 12. So we're still 4 hours away from Springfield. Mind you, it still has to make its stops. Well, this is Monday morning now. So class is supposed to start, training is supposed to start that Monday. We get there that Monday. And wouldn't you know, we get there so freaking late that we have to go straight into class. No, go ahead and take a nap, go to sleep, get something to eat. Nope. We had to start class. So that process was a lot like, um, it kind of reminds me of when I started basic training. You get there and you kind of just don't know what to expect. And everybody's like just telling you real quickly instructions, and you're just supposed to, remember everything. So I didn't get my hotel room yet because they provide the hotel room, they provide 3 meals a day. So while you're in that part of training, which is called orientation, so which is a little different it is now, but back when I came in 2017, it was orientation slash PSD. So, and I believe it stands for like prime student driver. Um, so get there and we get there and like I said, we had to go right away to class. We had to fill out all these forms, like all of our uh, like intake forms and other forms. We had just like things that we have to make sure to in order for us to get our permit. Then we get our schedule, and they told us to check back in around lunch to get our room. So luckily, when I checked back in around lunch, I was able to get my room, but all I could do was go put my stuff in there. So, mind you, they tell you only to bring enough of stuff that you can carry because you're going to share a room. And then when you get a trainer, you'll be sharing their truck. So, I had a bag and a backpack and a sleeping bag and a pillow. So, I had like about 2 weeks worth of clothes. My backpack had all my personal stuff in it, my toiletries, stuff like that. And then I had a sleeping bag and a pillow. That's what I brought. Some people brought big old suitcases like they was going on vacation. People brought so much stuff, and it's like, come on now, y'all just doing the most. But I digress. So anyway, the after I got my room, put my stuff in my room, I had to go get my physical. Um, got to get cleared by the doctor to obtain my CDO. That's a part of obtaining your CDO. You have to pass a physical. And there's actually a physical that I have to get done. I qualify for every 2 years. There's some that are less than that. 2 years is the max. Um, they have some for a year, 6 months. People that have sleep apnea or other health conditions have to be monitored a little bit more closely, just to make sure they're not going to be a danger behind the wheel, like if they have a heart attack or they fall asleep behind the wheel or something like that. So after I got my um, had my doctor's appointment, they did drug test. They take you into another part of the building and you basically sit and talk to somebody that basically verifies everything you filled out on your online application. Um, they tell you if they're still waiting on verification or if they need you to get in touch with someone to get verification. Like they really verify these things. They're not like a lot of places, and this is outside of trucking, that they just say they verified something, but they really don't. So they tell you, what needs to be done next. You need to go to the DMV now. So now there's a shuttle that takes you to the DMV to take your test. And once you take your test, whether you pass or fail, you can take your test. The test is in 4 parts, and you can fail each part like twice before you have to start all over again. So I believe that's how it goes. And I had one problem with one portion of the test, but I was able to pass it again on the like right away once I because once you finish the test, like you do the first 4 parts. If you pass or fail, I think you find that out at the end when you go check in with the proctor at the DMV, and they tell you what you failed, and you go back and take it just that part again. So I was supposed to bring my birth certificate with me, but I didn't. And so I had passed and was ready to get my permit, but without my birth certificate, they couldn't issue it. So I had to go back. And because it was kind of late in the day, I wasn't going to be able to catch the next shuttle in time to take me to back to the DMV to get my permit. So I had to wait extra day. Otherwise, I probably would have got a trainer a lot sooner. So I got my permit, got officially cleared to start my training. So before I go more into that detail, I remember, like I said, I've talked about it a little bit in the beginning of this episode. I really felt a lot like it felt like a lot like basic training because when you get off the bus, you have to hurry to a shuttle. Basic training, you're kind of like just dumped into your squadron, and it happened to be really early in the morning when I got to basic training. Same thing with when I got to my training for trucking at Prime. So I was very reminiscent of that. So I kind of knew how to handle that situation, but not everybody did. But it was like almost hurry up and wait, because they're processing a lot of students, but it was a hurry up and wait for everything. You had to be at this appointment on this time, and you have to be at this appointment on this time. But honestly, like I said, it's very reminiscent to basic training because when you go into basic training, they're trying to kind of get you out of your civilian ways and get you into the military lifestyle and mindset. Whereas trucking, they're trying to get you into the trucking lifestyle mindset. So the reason why I was like, hurry up and wait, get to your appointments on time is because they're trying to prepare you for being out on the road. You have to get to appointments on time. You have to get to certain places on time to make deliveries and pick up your deliveries or pick up your orders or shipments and stuff like that to take to other places. So it was kind of like preparing you for that. So I kind of felt like, okay, this is not as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but it was very like hurry up and get there. But once you get there, you might wait, you might have a line or whatever. But as long as you're there on time, that's all that matters. Uh, but it was very organized and very well for the most part put together. Of course, there's things, it's a big company. They have a lot of students, so they can't get everything right. It was nothing major. It was just more so like I felt like because we got there so early in the morning and we're so tired, our training should have been able to be pushed back and maybe we just start the next day because when you first go in there, you have nothing but CBTs. And if you don't know what CBTs are, my military people know what CBTs are, but it's basically um, computer-based training. You're just watching videos and modules and listening to stuff all day. That's pretty much what we did our first day. We had to learn how to clean up hazmat spills or how to connect to a trailer, how to check for air leaks, how to back up, how to, I mean, there's all these different videos, how to run your clock, like all these things I'm going to definitely get into in future episodes. It's just so much that when we first got there, it was just like, oh my gosh. So I felt like we could have probably done that on Tuesday because there were about 40 CBTs. So in the military they say death by PowerPoint. It kind of felt that way, where uh it was very just sit here and do all this. So and then we had one thing we did have that a lot of training programs don't have for truck drivers is a simulator. So a lot of people don't know I trained on a manual, and for those like, oh, manual's easy. Yeah, if you're driving a car, yes, I know how to drive a manual in a car, and they actually say if you know how to drive a manual in a car, it's actually worse trying to teach you how to drive in a stick because you think you have to drive it like you drive in a car. And so part of the CBTs is doing the simulator training and learning the actual what's it called? The gear shift, like there's a certain ways you have to, you're going first, second, third, fourth, fifth gear, but there's also more gears beyond that you have to. It's called a splitter. Some people call it a switch. Some people call it's on the actual gear shift. So when you get into fifth gear and you gotta go into sixth, you gotta flip the splitter, and then you can go into sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, whatever you gotta do. So, but you have to learn this on a simulator so you're not going out there messing up somebody's truck. That is hard because they have a thing called double clutching. Then you have to downshift and you have to remember that splitter because if not, you will stall. Um, so that was another added uh, training process that I was not expecting. But being on the simulator was like thinking about going to like Dave and Buster's and playing a video game. They don't like it to be called a video game, but that's what it's in comparison to. It's a big you're like sitting in it looks like you're actually sitting in the driver's seat of a truck, and you have these 3 monitors in front of you, and the 2 monitors basically kind of represent your side view, like your side view, like your driver's side and your passenger side, and then the front one is like your main window. And, you're on they put you in different driving scenarios, whether they have you teach you to read signs, because as a regular everyday, I have my class C, or I just have my regular driver's license. It's not a class A license. You're not really looking at all the signs. Well, truck drivers, we have to pay attention to these signs because we have to make sure we can uh, fit underneath these bridges and maintain these clearances. Sometimes it might be too wide, or trucks not allowed down this road type stuff, or too heavy. So in these simulators, if you don't like, they don't tell you really up front. All they do is say, make sure you pay attention to the signs. But you kind of just think of, okay, maybe they're just telling me that to pay attention to stop signs. You're not thinking of the typical clearance signs. So um if you're not paying attention, of course, when that sign comes up and you don't react, you're going to miss the little off ramp to get off the highway, to get over the overpass, to get on back onto the on ramp, because because the bridge that they're telling you to get off for is too short. You're going to hit it. So that was nerve wracking, because it was like, oh my gosh, is it really like this out here in the real world? Like, is it, or are they just, doing this for the simulator? And then they would have animals come out and run in front of your truck. Your natural instinct is to like try to swerve or brake, but you can't do that in a semi because you have extra weight. You can't stop like on a dime like you think you can. But in a simulator, we don't feel that. We don't feel that thing. So we just think, oh, we can just stop, you know. So that was another little wrench they threw in there. And it basically became part of like the just basically opening your eyes to kind of what it's like to driving a truck. Of course, if you're in a simulator, you don't have a trailer behind you. You don't have the idea of the weight. You don't feel the truck pulling. You don't really, I mean, they put vibrations in there like to simulate you hitting potholes or if you hit something, but it's still not the same. But I'm glad they had the mindset to teach you the shifts pattern of the gears and let you practice with shifting, double clutching, downshifting, that type of stuff, idling, reversing, those type of things. Because you have to know those when you're out there driving somebody else's truck for sure. Because they're not going to put you in a brand new truck or straight out of training. You got to be trained on somebody that's certified. Then they make sure that they have trainers that are certified. They don't say, "Hey, you've been driving with us for 5 years. We don't care about your safety record. Come train this person." So, and I'll get into more of that. But the other thing was after we had the simulator, we passed the simulator. Then you have to go to like another part of they would take you to this little truck, which is like a model. It's like an actual truck, but they don't use a truck anymore. And it's like a little tiny trailer. It's not a full 53 footer. It's like what we call pup trailers. So it was like a 20-foot trailer. And they had an actual tractor hooked up to the trailer. So it was actually a tractor trailer. And they're just showing you what you have to learn now. You open the hood, and the hood is you're just like, oh my God, what's all these parts? What's all this? And you have to learn these certain things in here to check every day. So that became like, oh my gosh, that's more than I thought. But then I thought about when I was in the Air Force and I was in training for air traffic control. And yes, I used to be air traffic control. A lot of people gonna ask me, why didn't you stay as air traffic control? I didn't stay as air traffic control because it just was not for me. It was too stressful and I couldn't handle it. I'm not that kind of person. I can't deal with stress very easily. And don't get me wrong, trucking is very stressful, but this is a type of stress for being air traffic control that I just was not wanting to have that burden. So, long story short, that's why I didn't pursue becoming a civilian air traffic controller. But when I first got into air traffic control, I was like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? Can I really do this? So it took me back to that point when I started questioning the whole driving point and doing the inspection and opening that hood, and because at this point we still haven't climbed into the truck yet. We're just looking on the outside. So I'm sitting here looking like, oh my gosh, this thing is huge. It's massive. I can't do this. Mind you, it wasn't even a full size 53-foot trailer. So I'm already second guessing myself. So I finish all my like basically orientation stuff, and it's now time for me to get a trainer. And that will basically take us into the next episode. So you have to tune in next time to hear about that process. So I'm going to go ahead and get into my diva moment now. You're on with a trucking lady here. And that means you're listening to me through YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Music, wherever you get your podcast from. In my podcast, I've shared so far my experiences as a trucker coming into this industry, and I have so much more to share. But if I've inspired you to take that leap to become a truck driver yourself, I want you to join me here at Prime. Here, you will get your training, your experience, knowledge, and expertise from some of the greatest drivers out there on the road, not to mention the safest. If you don't believe me, you can look up primeinc.com, contact a recruiter at 1-877-491-1108. Give them my driver referral code, ALLSIA. We hope to see you rolling next to us on the road.
Truckin' Lady.
Oh, my current 20 is I am in Georgia, outside of Thomasville, Georgia, heading to Moultrie, Georgia. So if anybody is familiar with Georgia, that's the southern part. If you're not familiar with Georgia, but I have some venting I want to do. So I just got my trailer washed down. Those that don't know, I pull a refrigerator trailer. If you hear me refer to reefer, I'm talking about a refrigerator trailer, not drugs, not the Mary Jane, but a reefer trailer or a refrigerator trailer, but reefer for short. And we have to keep them clean per FDA standards, and just sanitation products, and you picking up different things, going from different places. Meat one day might be cheese, the next day might be frozen pizzas, the next day might be eggs, the next day might be dairy products, the next day might be beer, the next time might be wood chips. You never whatever they decide to that I'm picking up is what I'll be picking up. But so I'm at a washout, and I don't know why. I understand I'm a female. Men are going to try to shoot their shot. But if I'm not really engaging in the conversation, why do people continue to try? Like, I'm out here working. I don't come out here to get hit on, you know. But and on top of that, it wasn't even like a normal question you ask somebody like, "Hey, how you doing? How long you been doing this?" He's like, "Oh, hey, are you Hawaiian?" Like, for real? That's the question you decide to ask me? Like, am I Hawaiian? But it's like frustrating because it's like every time I'm trying to be out here to do my job. I'm not out here trying to pick up a man, pick up anybody. I have a husband, number one. Number two, I'm just out here working. Like, I'm in my truck driving clothes. I ain't trying to be out here impressing nobody. I don't have no makeup. I don't have no jewelry, because they always tell you, excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm trying to watch when I can turn. They'll show you to look like, you don't have any money, because people will be out here to rob you. So that's what I was trying. If you hear that, FY, that's my CB. So drivers are talking in the area that I'm in right now. But, but anyway, so I wear the clothes I really don't care that much about, or I wear my company clothes because they're designed to get messed up or be, in a rough environment. Um, I don't wear any jewelry outside of my wedding ring because I don't want to get broken, damaged, lost, or stolen. That's just more stuff for me to keep up with. I mean, there are female truck drivers out here that do all that, and I give them more power to them. That's just not me. I rather save those times for dressing up, looking cute, and all that stuff when I am at home getting ready to go out somewhere really nice or whatever. Even if I'm on the road and I have a chance to go out to eat with my husband, we get a impromptu date night or whatever, that's even fine. But just to be out here looking like, a glammed up person out here driving, to me, no, that's attracting too much attention to myself. I get enough attention just looking like everyday Joe Schmo. I might put a little lip gloss on. I don't put full face makeup. My hair just be thrown back in a ponytail or a bun. None of that. So, but I'm used to getting hit on. So I can only imagine if I sit out here and put on all my glorious, beautiful clothes and look all cute wearing short shorts and heels and I would look like what they call out here a lot lizard, like women basically selling their bodies for money. And I'm not trying to be confused with that. I want to look like a professional truck driver, and that's what I look like. Um, but at the same time, it's like I don't want to come to work to be getting hit on. Like I don't. It's not as bad as it used to be. When I first started, it was horrible because I guess because men weren't used to seeing women out here, so it was just like, oh, let me hit on her. Ooh. Now it's not as bad, but at the same time, it's like, still, it's I'm not even making eye contact with you. You're talking to me about your day. I'm like sitting here on my phone trying to get you to stop talking to me. Like that didn't happen today, but this is just from other experiences. People trying to talk to me, and it's like if I'm not even really giving you the time of day, why are you still trying to talk to me? I don't want to engage in conversation with you. And plus, as a single female out here, it could be a ploy to get access to me or my truck, figure out where I'm going, how long I'm gonna be there, who I'm with, if anybody else is in my truck, that type of stuff. And so because there are men out here that basically prey on women out here, and we have to keep ourselves safe. A lot of people don't realize how dangerous it is that we're out here. People are like, oh, she's out here by herself, she's probably far from home, you know Okay, and sometimes there's women that have gone missing, truck drivers have gone missing or been found dead in their cabin. They don't know what happened. And that's because, and they not saying that's because of something they did, but that's because someone was watching their movements, and maybe overheard them say something, or something happened where that person felt comfortable enough to attack them. And there's not a lot of safety protocols out here for women. And it's hard sometimes. We could be as safe as like we want to be, and it's very, very scary. That's why when I don't go on the truck stops and go out there to mingle. There's truckers that will sit in these truck driver areas in the restaurants where you sit and you basically communicating with other truck drivers, which is cool. That's fine. That's all fine and dandy. But the issue comes into play when you start to like divulging extra information that you really shouldn't be giving out, like your location, how long you're gonna be there, because you never know who's listening. So I try to keep my conversation very on time. Oh yeah, like someone asked me, oh, how long you gonna be here? Oh, I don't know, I'm gonna be here a while, or I'm gonna be here for not that long. I give them like very blanket answers. I try not to talk about what my color truck is, or I'll try to sit there and say, my co-driver sleep. Even if I don't have a co-driver, I'll try to make it seem like I have somebody else on my truck that's going to be, you know, waiting for me to come back. I don't talk about, I don't take my breaks in a time frame where, like, if I'm going to be going inside to eat and I say, oh yeah, I'm here for my 10-hour break. I don't tell people that, because that means, okay, they might try to watch me to see what truck I go into. They know I'm gonna be there for at least 10 hours. Oh, they might try to do something to me, and it's sad that we have to have that mentality. But that's how it really is. It really is like that. And there's some men out here that's genuinely just, they're really interested in you, but I'm not interested in these men. But it's just a little bit frustrating because it happens so often, and it's like, I know men are always out for the hunt. That's what men like to do, is like they like to hunt, they like to chase and all that stuff. But my thing is, if you're doing it to me, I know you're doing it to multiple other women. So it's like, you know, you're too comfortable to do it. So and then it's like, when I do get approached, it's not even in a how can I say it, like in a respectful manner per se. They like, oh, what you how you driving this truck? Or they'll say, because I have my rank and my Air Force veterans, no, they'll come up to me and say, how you driving this truck? Or they'll make a comment on my little I have a my name and my Air Force veteran sticker on my truck. So they'll try to make conversation off of that, like, oh, you should have went in the army, or oh, you should have did this, or oh, you was in the military, and that part is okay to make conversation, but then it goes straight into, oh, so your husband or your boyfriend okay with you being out here? Like, you trying to, is that like a pickup line? But some of the stuff actually be just like disrespectful, like, you know, hey, you looking for, I actually had this happen one time, and it's the only time I've ever had this happen. Hey, I could take care of you and stuff. You ain't even got to drive that truck no more, but you can just basically be here to satisfy me. But it wasn't so nice like that. It was more so like, um let me take care of you, and basically you just gonna be here for me to fuck me basically whenever you want. That's basically how it came. That was back when I first started. Like 3 years. I started 4 years ago, but it was like back in my rookie year. I mean, granted, there's more than your rookie, longer than a year out here, but in my beginning rookie year, it was just like so disrespectful to me. It's like, really? So you're gonna take you feel like you could take my independence from me to make it more of a benefit for you? Okay, no, thank you, sir. Or I get the hey girl, why don't you give me your number type stuff, like just the standard stuff. Or so you looking for a man, that type stuff. Like, does it look like I'm looking for a man? Because last time I checked, I'm putting fuel in my truck, because that's most times when I get hit on, and I be at truck stops, putting fuel, because you have to get out the truck, and there's a whole bunch of men in the fuel aisle, pumping their trucks. So I'm walking from one side, because most trucks have fuel tanks on both sides, so I have to fuel both sides, and there's pumps on each side. So, I'm thinking like these men are just like really setting, it's like almost going up in a if you've been in the military, you go into basic training, and they call it the hawk's nest or something like that. I forget what they called it. Fire pit, something pit. Some It was basically where all the TIs would sit there and wait for all the trainees to pass them, to really just kind of just mess with them. But it kind of makes you feel like that, because it's like you feel like you gonna be messed with as soon as you come out of your truck. It's like they watching, they waiting, it's like I'm praying, they're a damn vulture just ready to pounce, and it's frustrating as hell. um but anyway, that's my diva moment, to vent on something that literally just happened, and I just had to share that with y'all. So, Truckin' Lady here, signing off. What's your 20?
Truckin'